Being how it is 2 o'clock, I will call to order the November 16th, 2023 meeting of the Development Waiver Review Committee. At this time, I'll introduce myself. My name is Ann Lippman. I am the Community Development Director, and I am the chairwoman of this committee. When anyone is up at the podium speaking, please direct all your questions or comments directly to me. At this time, I will ask the county attorney and the fellow members of this committee to turn on their microphones and introduce themselves.
Jason Phillips, County Attorney.
George Jones, Director of Transportation.
Bruce Coyle, County Engineer.
Frank Baker, County Manager.
And hopefully Ray Wooten, who is our Water System Director, will be joining us soon. We have 3 items on our agenda today. Item number 1 is review of the minutes from the October 17th, 2023 meeting. If everyone has had an opportunity to read those, I will ask for a motion on those minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted, made by Mr. Coyle and seconded by Mr. Jones. Are there any questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Be likewise. If not, at this time, our minutes have been approved by a vote of 4-0. And we will give Mr. Wooten a second to, I've already introduced you, to get situated. I will read the first case number. Our first case to number today is case 2023-11W, application by SW South Dallas LLC requesting to waive the PDOT recommended development regulation article number 5.3.4, requiring a right turn lane for commercial developments. The property is located in land lot 1072, District 2, Section 3, at the corner intersection of Marshall Fuller Road and Villa Rica Highway, also known as State Road 61, and it is located in Post 2. And I would like to note a few things for this meeting. This request only applies to the Marshall Fuller entrance, and during these 2 public hearings, we will only be hearing comments about the request for this case on the waiver of the right turn lane. This is not the forum to discuss the zoning of the property or whether or not the proposed use is the proper use. At this time, I will ask if the applicant, SW South Dallas LLC, is present. So, sir, if you would like to come up to the podium, there is a sign-in sheet, so please sign in, and anyone else who may be speaking behind you, just sign in, and please begin your presentation, and as I mentioned, state all your comments directly to me.
Would you like me to do this now or after I speak?
Go ahead and sign in now.
Okay. Do we need to sign in now if we got something?
No, you can sign in when there's an opportunity in a few minutes for people to either speak in favor or in opposition. So everyone will get a chance to sign in and speak. Now, do keep in mind that we generally allot 15 minutes for those in favor of the opposition and the applicant, and 15 minutes for those in opposition. So please keep that in mind.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Sullivan. I'm with SW South Dallas. We're the contract purchaser and the developer of a 3-acre tract at the northeast corner of Marshall Fuller Road and Highway 61. We are here today for both items on the agenda. I don't know if you want to discuss them separately or together.
We would actually prefer, I think, to discuss them separately. There are 2 different agenda items.
Okay, great. So we're the contract purchaser and developer of this 3-acre property. We are before you requesting a waiver to the county's requirement for a right turn lane, what I refer to as a decel lane, for the secondary curb cut on Marshall Fuller Road. The primary cut for the property is on Highway 61, which is a state route, and we've worked with DOT, and that has been preliminarily approved and requires a decel lane based on the traffic volumes and the speed limits and whatnot. But again, that is our primary cut. The cut on Marshall Fuller Road is the secondary cut, and the one for which we are requesting the waiver for no decel lane. As part of our application, County DOT asked us to do a traffic study, which we did. It has been submitted to staff. Staff has reviewed it, provided comments. We've addressed and changed the traffic study. But the traffic study itself indicates that based on the traffic volumes on Marshall Fuller Road and the projected turning movements, we do not meet the threshold requiring a decel lane on Marshall Fuller Road. We are below that threshold. So that is why I'm here today asking for that waiver. I will point out that we have agreed during the permitting process to donate right-of-way at the intersection of Marshall Fuller Road and 61 for the county and state's future improvement of that intersection coming down the road. So I can answer questions about the project. I've got Abdul with A&R Engineering who did the traffic study. He's available to answer questions related to the traffic study and the traffic, because quite frankly, that's not my expertise. And I've got my civil engineer, Alan, here. He can answer questions on the project if needed that are related to the site layout. Aside from that, I guess I'll reserve the rest of my time, or I'm available for questions.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone on the committee have any questions for the applicant at this time?
I was curious, was there any thought to doing any trip distributions from existing Dollar General stores in this area? I know the study used the national trip count, but I was curious if there was thought about using a local trip distribution.
I will defer that to Abdul after. I will tell you that we develop about 20 to 25 Dollar Generals a year, and we've done the one just up the road in Villa Rica at the roundabout and the one down in Dallas. And so our civil engineer and myself generally have an idea of the traffic movements, and they function just fine without a decel lane in situations like this, especially when there are two curb cuts. But no, I did not specifically do a study at a specific Dollar General.
Does anyone else have any questions? I had one.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a specific, why exactly are you asking for the decel lane to be waived? Is there a hardship? Is there some sort of geographical or topographical issue with Marshall Fuller that you can't put in the decel lane?
To be honest with you, there's not necessarily a glaring hardship other than the fact that it is our secondary entrance. It's there for convenience. All the trucks, it's designed for the trucks to come and go off 61. And based on the traffic volumes on that end of Marshall Fuller Road, we just didn't think it was necessary.
Okay.
That's the only reason.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, thank you. Oh, go-
I've, observed your traffic counts, and it does appear Marshall Fuller's not that busy. It has 49, 50 cars an hour on peak flows. But I did observe, Villa Rica has some 500 cars per hour coming down through there. Is it your full intention to build the decel lane off 61 South?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you, sir. At this time, I will open the public comment portion of this meeting. If there is anyone in the audience who would like to speak on behalf of the application, please come forward.
Can we just ask what a decel line is? I have no idea what that
Give me 1 second and we'll get to the questions or opposition. So I don't think there's anyone there to speak. So now if there's anyone in the audience who would like to express opposition or has questions or concerns regarding the application, please come up to the podium, sign in, and state your questions.
Oh, no, computer just great.
Oh, there's actually an old-timey
Oh, okay.
handwritten
Paperwork better.
sign sheet over there.
Oh, them schools now, since 99, they let you run a computer and stuff, and I'm like, really? No, I'm old school, I'm sorry. I'm Zach Rampley. I live on Marshall Fuller Road. I'm the very first house on Marshall Fuller Road. Been living there since 1996. And the property across the street over there belonged to a good friend of mine, Cowboy. I don't know if y'all know him or not. So I'm sure some of y'all do. If Brian was here, Stoker, he knowed him good. That's Dollar General as far as it. I know we don't want to talk about it, so we'll talk about the road. As far as that D-cell lane and stuff, I was just talking to him about that. And what he's saying is all the trucks that are coming from Dallas is going to turn right into this so-called property. We'll call it property for right now instead of Dollar General. He says there's not going to be no trucks coming from Dwrc coming down and turning in. They can't do it. It's going to be like the one at Dollar General up there, the one they shut down on 61, like going back towards Dallas. I don't know if y'all aware of it, but it's very, very messed up. There's one way in, one way up. If you're going back towards Dallas, they didn't want you turning in. They wanted you to go all the way up, flip around, and come back down. It don't make no sense. And they do need a D-cell lane out there. A nice, good D-cell lane, because that's a dead spot. When you come up top of that hill, like I said, I've been living there 30 years. I sit up on my carport, watch traffic every day. When the 18-wheelers come on top of that hill, and you pull out of Marshall Fuller Road, you got to be on it, gassing on it. If you don't, you're going to get run over. The people, like our school buses that my kids ride, they're sitting there, the 18-wheelers are sliding their tires now when they come up top that hill. There's barely enough room to stop from the dead spot to Marshall Fuller. And they're not putting the road up there, right there at the hill. If there's a blind spot, one of y'all can go look at it. Have no reason why. Right there where that road's coming out, there's a blind spot, a little hill right there. And when you come over it, you're on top of it. I don't think that's a very good idea. And on the other side, like the one up there at Mustang Drive and stuff, they put a little turning thing where, if there's traffic stopped at turning Dollar General, there's an outside lane that you can just sort of like go around. Well, that ain't gonna help the 18-wheelers none. They can't stop and go around that, So I'm opposing it. I don't want it done. And we'd have more people here. But last month, it was on the agenda, took it off the agenda. We took the signs down, okay? If you look on your paperwork and the signs that's put out, it says the 16th on a Tuesday. So all of us was up here on Tuesday. It wasn't on the agenda. But the lady we talked to up here said all the meetings are on Tuesdays. There's no meetings on Thursdays. Today's Thursday. All my people couldn't take off Tuesday and Thursday. We'd had more people here to discuss their opinion. And as far as the road coming out on Marshall Fuller Road, I was talking to him, like I said, I'm a truck driver. I ain't gonna say I ain't broke no laws. If them trucks can't get out on 61, which is gonna be hard with the traffic coming, they're gonna use that back entrance on 61. That's gonna put more traffic on 61, on Marshall Fuller Road. It's gonna put more traffic over on Marshall Fuller Road, on my side in front of my house. And I got grandbabies over there. And there's a lot more traffic on 61 in Marshall Fuller than what y'all saying. If y'all live there, and I've seen it with your eyes every day, y'all would know this. Them statistics don't mean nothing when you're sitting there looking at it every day. So I've said what I said, but I've got 15 people that signed a piece of paper waiver, said they're against it. Why are they trying to put a Dollar General there when the one at McDonald's, and drive it 45 miles an hour, it takes a minute and 34 seconds to get from that one to the one they're trying to build. It takes 2 minutes and 15 seconds to get to the one at Ridge Road. It takes 2 minutes and 56 seconds to get to the one up there past Ridge Road, up there at the church. They're everywhere. Why do we need another one for? That's all I've got to say, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to ask any questions or has concerns or questions about this application?
Hey, my name is Bonnie Pate. I also live on Marshall Fuller. The only thing I've heard about getting a Dollar General is word of mouth lately. The for sale sign is still up, so that means to me the property's still for sale. And so I don't know if the commissioners have voted, and I'd like to know if the commissioners have voted and says that it's going there. I don't know how to find that out. Can y'all answer that for me?
We did look, and our records show that this property was zoned B2 in 1984. And the B2 zoning district would allow for a general merchandise shopping center such as a Dollar General.
Okay. So it's been zoned that long?
Yes, ma'am.
And how would we know that if we've lived there 50 years?
Contact me, though.
I'll be honest, in 1984, I was in high school, so I don't know off the top of my head what the zoning laws were. I think there have been significant changes in zoning laws since 1984. There are notification requirements such as that you received for this letter. And without doing some research, and I don't know if our county attorney has any recollections either of how property was zoned in the 80s.
I will say that there's been zoning procedures in effect for a long time. I think your question was, how would the citizenry know? Each of the hearings there's public notices that go out. That's what's required by state law in order for the public to know that a hearing is going to occur. How a property is zoned, those are open records which the citizenry is, if you want to inquire, you're perfectly entitled to make a request or ask, but it's not something that, there's a zoning map online that says how the property is zoned, but those are all public records available for the public to come take a look at.
But I wouldn't know to look there if I didn't hear that there's fixing to be a Dollar General there. I wouldn't have had any idea that anything.
With all due respect, ma'am, whether or not you know, it's the county's obligation to make sure those records are public. They're public for people to come look at.
Okay, so, but the people that live down that road can't find out, or can't be notified, I guess, is what I need to say.
And again, as I mentioned at the beginning, we are here today to discuss whether or not they should have a right turn lane waived.
Okay,
We are not here to discuss the zoning of this property.
okay,
at
so
this
when
time.
does that happen?
That happened in 1984.
No, that's not what I mean.
We don't have any notification requirements when property is developed. The letter, you probably, if you live adjacent to the property, you probably received a letter notifying you of this action, and the sign was posted.
There was a sign on our stop sign.
It's not where it was supposed to be placed.
Yeah.
It's not, maybe it's not an official.
Yeah, it should
I'm
not have
sorry?
been posted on a stop sign.
That's-
They were
that's where it
required to
was,
post the
right?
property.
It was on the
and
stop sign.
We will certainly look and see what was provided to us, but if you have any questions or comments about the waiver of the right turn lane, that's what we're here to discuss
Okay.
today.
All right, I was just trying to find out when you would have another meeting concerning the Dollar General.
We will not. The
Okay.
property was zoned in 1984 for B2, which is a highway business zoning district, and that allows a business such as this.
Okay.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition or has questions or concerns about this case?
Yes. My name is Rebecca Cosby Elliott. I live on 61 directly across, next to where the small little forest is. I live directly next to it. I have concern of the traffic in this area. The development, I know of the lanes on the end on Marshall Fuller that y'all are addressing now. And Mr. Sullivan brought up the lanes on 61. He's the one that brought this up. The deceleration on 61 will be right in front of my property. There have been multiple accidents at that intersection, Marshall Fuller and Jane Harris in 61. Since I've been there, the 5 years I've lived there. I've also had a car turned over in my yard from trying to slam on brakes in the middle of the night. And he fell over into my yard and rolled, and then ended up rolling back up on 61. I'm concerned about the extra traffic that this development is going to cause. I'm worried about the lane, the speed lane decrease right there. About the, even though they're going to make it to where you have to turn right either way, people are not going to adhere to that. If you look back, there were multiple accidents north on 61 at the old Dollar General they had up there. And this traffic is going to end up in my yard. Maybe even into my home or to my vehicles. I'm very concerned about how that the development is going to stop that from ending in my yard. These people trying to stop the people trying to turn left, because I know they're going to. We all know they're going to. And as commissioners, I'm sorry, but I lived in Douglas County for 45 years. I lived at Fairplay. What I'm coming from is the development that y'all are doing now will result later on in tragedies. It will develop, being concerned for the people that live around there and the community. My well was one of the first wells in Douglas County to be closed. My children had toxic waste poisoning from that. Basket Creek toxic waste site. Wasn't buried on my property. It was buried 1,500 feet from my property. Wasn't on my property. This is not going to be on my property. But 1,500 feet, the result, condemn my kids to toxic waste. I just want y'all to be aware of the development that y'all are doing now in this county will reflect years from now. That started in 1950. My kids are still suffering in 2023 from that, and well, for the rest of their lives. And there are many other children down there that also suffer. There were many residents there that died from cancer. And I know it doesn't affect today.
We do have to, ma'am,
I
I
want y'all
appreciate
to
your comments,
understand
but we
where I'm
do
coming
have to
from.
focus on
I'm concerned
any
about these
comments
lanes.
on the waiver of the right turn lane on
I'm
Marshall Fuller
concerned
Road.
about the lanes.
Okay.
And I'm concerned about the traffic. And I know they did studies, but they can't stop the danger that they're going to cause unless they can figure out a way to stop them from turning left into that property.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? We have probably just a few minutes. If there's anyone else in the audience who would like to speak in opposition or has questions or concerns regarding the application? If not, I will close the public comment portion and I'll ask the applicant to come back, and if you would like to make any comments or rebuttal against some of the statements made by the people in opposition.
Thank you. I guess, as you've stated, I just want to remind, we're here today to talk about the curb cut on Marshall Fuller Road. The cut on Highway 61 is regulated by state DOT, and we are meeting their requirements. A lot of the conversation about coming over the hill and blind spots pertains to Highway 61. We're here requesting a waiver on the right turn lane, what I refer to as a decel lane on Marshall Fuller. And based on the traffic study and the traffic volumes, the threshold requiring a right turn lane on a 45-mile-an-hour road is 150 vehicles a day. And based on the traffic study we did, which took traffic counts out there, there are about 115 right turns. So we are below the threshold, which is why we are asking for this waiver. And I've got Abdul here, my traffic consultant, who can speak some more on the traffic itself and answer any questions related to that.
Good afternoon. My name is
Sir,
Abdul.
if you could sign in.
Sure.
If you're going to speak, we need to have.
Good afternoon. My name is Abdul. I'm a traffic engineer with A&R Engineering. Conducted the traffic study for this project initially, and then we revised it to address the issue of the deceleration lane. As Brian mentioned, we do not meet the thresholds followed even by Georgia DOT on state highways for installation of a right turn lane. I've done the study and have discussions with DOT staff, including Erica and Jose recently. And they had some comments for me to give additional information, which I did, and they seem to be satisfied with that conclusion as of latest discussion I had yesterday with them. Now, we want to briefly address some of the concerns expressed by one of the speakers earlier about Blind Hill on Marshall Fuller Road and not being able to see and that kind of stuff. So we did, that was one of the comments from DOT. We performed what we call side distance profiles, which is the distance someone coming out of the driveway can see to the left and to the right. And we documented that we have adequate distance visibility to see a car arriving at the driveway. Anybody entering or exiting can see as far as they need to see from a safety standpoint per the standard. So there is no safety concern from an engineering perspective there that has been established. And county has reviewed that, DOT has reviewed those profiles as well. One last thing I wanted to point out with respect to the deceleration lane, since some of the neighbors, at least those that are here, are concerned about traffic, and traffic especially on that side street, the trip distribution, we call trip distribution to the number of cars that will come from different directions. So if you're coming north on State Route 61, wanting to approach here, since there is no left turn movement permitted at the driveway on 61, some of those cars, we made them turn left on the street that comes before you get to that intersection to the north. It's called Rough Harris Road. So we had some of the traffic turn left on Rough Harris Road and then turn right. That's why you have even the amount of cars that Brian mentioned there that is still below the 115 threshold. Now, in keeping with the concern of the neighbors, if we were to provide a deceleration lane, then it's more inviting. You will simply have more cars that would want to turn left in that shortcut connection between 61 and Marshall Fuller Road and be more attractive for more cars to come there. So if I'm one of the neighbors, I would want less cut-through traffic through there. I would not want this right turn lane that is not necessary anyways to make it more attractive for people to come. And right turn lanes do not necessarily add any safety for side distance. It's not an alternative to side distance. It's really for high-speed roads where your deceleration lane, as the name says, is to allow people to decelerate, to slow down from a high-speed road. Since this road is coming to a dead end at State Route 61 anyways, people are not going to be going very high speed. They're trying to slow down, trying to stop, just 300-400 feet. From here, there's a stop sign. So I believe, given the numbers, given the low volume, low speeds, and the documentation and the review of DOT staff, I think it makes sense not to require a deceleration lane, especially to help the neighbors not create more cut-through traffic attraction through the side street. That would be what I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone on the committee have any questions?
I would like, could you expand, in your conclusion, you're giving a level D to the lanes. Can you expand on what the level of service D means? I know that it goes from A through F, and F is worse and A is the best, but D seems pretty far down the list.
Right. So I believe you're looking at Table 8 on page 19, if I'm not mistaken, where you see the level of service in the PM peak hour at the intersection of State Route 61 and Marshall Fuller Road. So you have level of service C in the morning, and you have a C in the morning and a D for the side street movement. So if you're coming on Marshall Fuller Road in the afternoon peak hour, you want to make a left turn onto State Road 61, then you would experience what we call level of service D. For unsignalized intersections, a level of service is defined by an average delay to a motorist. So some people may come and find a gap and turn right, left or right away. Some people may have to wait. We look at an average delay and then we assign it a level of service based on that. For unsignalized intersections, the level of service criteria goes from A to F. For D, if your average delay is between 25 and 35 seconds, and I document that on page 5 of the study, then we classify it under level of service D. So for stop sign control intersections on highways, this is really good. A D is not that bad. Oftentimes you get into E and F on highways pretty quickly. But D is, if you can imagine, 30 seconds. You come up to a stop sign on a highway like 61, you expect to stop for a few seconds to find a gap. So half a minute is about average of how long somebody would have to stop. Hope that answers the question. Thank you.
I believe you had said that having a right turn lane makes it more attractive and it diverts traffic. Do you have any studies showing that?
Well, not specifically, it's just a general comment based on ease of travel. So it's just you make something easy, more people would want to go there. And if the neighbors don't want more traffic there, I think they would want to be in support of no decel lane.
Okay. I think another thing was the trip distribution proposed. Obviously, this is an estimate, it's not definitive. You don't know if it's going to be 115 cars or 150 or 85. We don't really know. You're taking a stab at it. Would you agree?
That's a good question. We had a comment on that and a lot of discussion with the staff on trip distribution, and we produced a distribution, and if they disagree with it, we would amend it to satisfy them, but they did not disagree. And then we had some questions about how much of the traffic coming from Villarica up north would turn left and come there. But there was agreement with the staff on that, and then the way I explained it to them was, look, we've put 60% total traffic entering from a back side entrance, which is as aggressive as you can get. The main highway, main entrance for this facility is 61. Something like this retail, any retail would want to have their presence and traffic come from the highway, not from the back street. But we did the opposite. Just to be on the conservative side, I like to look at it in the worst case scenario. So we put 60% total right turn, left turn on the back driveway and only 40% on the front. And then on top of that, anybody coming north on 61, we didn't say, well, they'll go up to the facility, look at it, can't turn left, and I'm going to make a left turn on Marshall Fuller and then make a left turn. We didn't say all of them will do that. We took a good portion of that, made them actually go through a side street back in Marshall Fuller, assuming these people know the back roads, so we did that as well. So I think you add all of that up, it's worst case numbers already. And then your 115, 114 relative to 150 threshold. So it's not like I am at above 90%. Usually if I'm within the 90% range, I say close enough to the threshold, let's do it. But here we're 25% off after making a bunch of conservative estimates already. This is what I explained to the staff, and I think they concurred.
Was the reason that the entrance off of Marshall Fuller was designed was because you can't get a left turn in off of 61? Or what was the reason for the entrance off of Marshall Fuller?
The short answer is yes.
Okay. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
I do know you did mark car entrance only off Marshall Fuller, so
Yes.
trying to keep, because if the truck's going southbound, he's going to get in your 61 diesel lanes. to come in and deliver the good.
That's correct.
Then he'll have to leave and keep going southbound on 61 when he leaves.
That's correct.
Supply truck.
Correct. And if it matters, Dollar General has designated this as a restricted delivery, requiring all deliveries to come and go off 61.
Okay. If there's no other questions from the committee, I will ask if there is any further discussion by the committee or if anyone is ready to make a motion.
Motion to deny.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to deny made by Mr. Jones and seconded by Mr. Coyle. Are there any questions? If not, I will call for a vote. All in favor of the motion to deny signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed would be likewise. The request to waive the right turn lane has been denied unanimously. Our case number 3 today is case number 2023-12-W, application by SW South Dallas LLC requesting to waive PDOT recommended development regulation article number 5.15.19, requiring a left turn lane for commercial developments. The property is located in land lot 1072, District 2, Section 3, at the corner of Marshall Fuller Road and Villa Rica Highway, also known as State Route 61 in Post 2. And again, this request only applies to the Marshall Fuller entrance. The applicant present would like to come present anything on the left turn lane waiver request.
Yes, ma'am. And I signed in twice.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
The first time. For the record, once again, my name is Brian Sullivan. I'm with SW South Dallas. I'm before you to discuss a 3-acre property in the northeast corner of Marshall Fuller Road and Highway 61, and a request to waive the county's requirement for a left turn lane on the curb cut on Marshall Fuller Road. As you know, we've conducted a traffic study and have provided that information to staff. The primary entrance for this development is on Highway 61. And a left turn lane on Marshall Fuller Road would be to capture people going north on Highway 61, people going north on Highway 61 that would turn right onto Marshall Fuller and then turn left into the store.
Left onto Marshall Fuller. What you mean? If
No,
you're coming north
if you're
on
going-
61?
If you're going north on
You mean
north-
south?
South.
Then you mean south on
I'm sorry,
61.
I'm sorry.
And then you turn right onto Marshall
I'm
Fuller.
sorry, I've got a lot on my mind.
Yeah.
I've got a lot on my mind. I apologize. So, if you're going south on 61
Yes.
and you turn right on Marshall Fuller, you would then turn left into the project. However, the majority of the people that are going the 55, if they actually go 55, would be using the entrance on Highway 61 to turn right. So you're not making a right then a left. And so based on the traffic study and the speed limit of Marshall Fuller Road, the threshold requiring a left turn lane is 250 vehicles or trips. And we're at 88. And so we are well below the required threshold. And I honestly believe that the number of left turning movements from Marshall Fuller into the project are going to be negligible because the majority of the people going in that direction will access the property off Highway 61. So as you know, we've done a traffic study that supports this. It has been reviewed and commented on 2 or 3 times by staff. I've got Abdul with A&R here that can answer questions specific to the traffic study. But in my opinion, as a developer, we are so far below the required threshold. That is the reason for my request.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions for the applicant? Thank you. At this time, I will ask if there is anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of this application. In favor? Okay. This is in favor of the application.
speak?
This,
or-
yeah, this is in favor of the application. If you're- But hold on, if there's no one, at this time, is there anyone wishing to express opposition or has questions, concerns regarding this application?
Now I gotta talk.
Yes.
I'm new at this, I'm sorry. You made a good point about coming on Marshall Fuller Road. That's cool, his statistics are right now. That's before we put the Dollar General in. After we put the Dollar General in, we'll have more traffic. And like he was saying, the people that really knows the area, of course, they don't want to get out there and take a chance on getting hit on 61. You know what I'm saying? If that road comes in, so of course, they're going to dump more traffic on Marshall Fuller Road, which is right there at our subdivision. So we start coming over our driveway, of course, and then we're going to, we already have to fight, you know what I'm saying? Because Marshall Fuller does have a lot of traffic on it. If y'all will look, they've been 15 houses built up Marshall Fuller Road in the last year. I mean, a lot of houses has been put in Marshall Fuller Road all over our county, actually. You know what I'm saying? Which is cool. That's good for the county. You know what I'm saying? We need the money to build, you know, better stuff around. But my point is, now we're going to have more traffic dumped on Marshall Fuller Road. And when we come to our subdivision, that's where the interest is going to come out, right there at our subdivision. We got, I think I counted 24 houses in our subdivision that's got cars going to be coming out on 61 on Marshall Fuller Road now. So if you got people coming out of the Dollar General, and people coming out of, coming out of Brookstone, there's going to be more traffic on Marshall Fuller. Now, of course, they're going to come in and out of Marshall Fuller Road. There's more traffic out there. I got 3 grandbabies that plays in my front yard. I don't want it. But I appreciate it. Let me talk.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak expressing opposition, questions, or concerns regarding the left turn lane waiver request? If not, I will close the public comment portion. Would you, Mr. Sullivan, would you like to make any additional comment to Mr. Rackley's comments?
I don't have anything additional to say, but I will make myself available to answer questions, and Abdul, our traffic consultant, is also available if there are questions specific to the left turn waiver request.
Does anyone have any questions? I think you're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
That will conclude the public comment portion, and if there are no other questions by the committee, I will ask for a motion.
Motion to deny.
We have a motion to deny made by Mr. Jones and seconded by Mr. Wooten. Are there any questions? If not, I will call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion to deny signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Likewise, there are none. The request for the left turn waiver is denied unanimously. That is the conclusion of our business today, and our last item would be to adjourn. So I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Baker, a second from Mr. Jones. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. We are adjourned.